an inside look at the detention center in Florida, known as Alligator Alcatraz. The visit comes as many say the conditions inside are inhumane. Kendall Brandt has more on their visit.
Both Republican and Democratic lawmakers got their first look inside the ICE detention facility in the middle of the Everglades, but the two groups came out with very different outlooks.
Looking at those cages, I saw young men who looked exactly like me.
That's right.
I saw myself in those cages.
Democratic Representatives Maxwell Frost, Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and Darren Soto were among some of the lawmakers on the tour. They say about 900 detainees were inside.
They are essentially packed into cages, wall-to-wall humans, 32 detainees per cage. That is the only thing inside those cages are there are bunk beds, and there are 3 tiny toilets.
This comes after a group of Florida lawmakers sued Governor Ron DeSantis for not allowing them inside the facility unannounced earlier this week. Today, they spent hours in the site but did not get to speak to any detainees.
We saw people, of course, yelling for help. We even heard in the background someone yell, "I'm an American citizen." They started chanting "Libertad," freedom, liberty.
They say the staff inside includes private security companies, but Democratic lawmakers saying there was food, but in small portions.
I don't see how that could possibly sustain them nutritionally or not make them hungry.
They're being fed, they're being clothed.
Meanwhile, Republican State Senator Blaise Ingoglia and Representative Michael Caruso say the conditions inside were satisfactory.
The bed is actually more comfortable than my bed at house. I'm going to have that conversation with my wife.
Claiming conditions follow prison standards with adequate food, water, air conditioning, and shower access.
They're all male, all over 18, all criminal background.
With opinions about conditions inside split down party lines.
Individuals with small infractions are inside this facility. Civil traffic infractions, suspended license are in there. So the idea that the worst of the worst is in there is not true.
Now, Florida Senate.
Hey, shalom, shalom. All praises, honor, glory goes to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, elder bishops, the great millstone who rule well. Peace and blessings to you fellow brothers pushing out this word in truth and sincerity. Shabbat Chanak. Coming back with another lesson through the spirit and power of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Rachak, Wadash, Shalom to the elect. And this video here, of course, or this lesson is inspired by this video and the recent popularity, or coverage of this new detention center where they're putting these migrants at, called Alligator Alcatraz. Basically in Florida Everglades, and basically calling Alligator Alcatraz because, I guess there's a whole bunch of, the swamps. If you escape, you're gonna be surrounded by alligators. Nevertheless, you saw the video. Basically, detention centers are being created for you Israelites. Okay, ultimately, the average American citizen that bucks up, that's also being prepared. It's almost like a Trojan horse. First they get, the lowest hanging fruit, which is the so-called migrants, and they set that up, and they have a backing of, Americans, mainly the right, politically leaning to the right, Republican, that are, on board with them creating these detention centers. But the left, so-called left, there's a public outcry, for these detention centers because they're in deplorable situations and they literally have Jake in cages. Okay, this is how they look at you Israelites. I mean, it's mainly for the Israelites. This is all leading into Jacob's trouble, but also this is also going to be, used for you Americans that don't want to get with the program of the NWO. Okay, you're clapping. Now I want to go back because you got Esau. I want to kind of go back to the beginning. You see Esau taking pictures. Let me see. It's just a small little clip. You see Esau taking pictures with the American flag right next to the sign which says Alligator Alcatraz. Let's see if we can find that. Or maybe we might just have to Google it. Okay, there we go. See Esau here?
Saying there was food.
Look, let's go back a little bit.
Pretty.
They say the staff inside include.
See? Esau, he's loving this. Oh, we're getting these migrants out. We're getting these blacks and Hispanics out. There's no big push to get Ishmael out. The so-called Iranians that came in here, the so-called Syrians, and the Lebanese, so-called Middle Easterns, or Pakistanis that came in droves. Okay, individuals from China that came in droves. There's no big push to get these people out. The big push is to get, you Israelites out of the country. But that is just nothing but a Trojan horse to justify them locking you up in the detention centers, them already having the infrastructure, all right, to throw you Americans, into these big old detention centers, which you have these private government contractors that are nothing but insiders that are making all type of money. They're getting these contracts to house these criminals that are so-called being paid from the American tax dollars. Okay, so you see how the true hatred of Jake really, is being shown. I want to get the clip here where these two Edomites, Republicans, they're going to tell their title, and you could just see the smirk on their face, saying that the bed is actually more comfortable than their bed. Let me just play that.
Blaise and Golia and Representative Michael Caruso say the conditions inside were satisfactory.
The bed is actually more comfortable than my bed at house.
See, look at them. Look at these devils, man. Look at these devils. When you Israelites gonna see that they never liked you. They always hated you. Okay, and their future for you is in cages, like animals, just like they had you before. Not even that long ago, really. You can't even say hundreds of years ago. Not even that long ago. Okay, within this, in the 20th century, we're in the 21st century. All right, but they even have you in those cages even now, justified under the 14th Amendment. All right, you getting locked up. Okay, you're a slave. All right, that's how they justify slavery. And now they're gonna come down. What the scriptures say. Let me get that. And we bring this out all the time, but this is the reality of the matter. Okay, why are these things being done? Okay, and this is supposed to be a so-called modern society of freedom and equity and fairness. Why are detention centers being set up? All right, why are people being thrown in cages? In the Latin tribes, they try to come to America for a better life, and they've been getting thrown in black site detention centers. They'll just come up missing. Tens of thousands of individuals just come up missing, if not going into the millions every year. Okay. Revelation 12:12. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, meaning you people, meaning the whole wide world, because Esau, his plan is for world domination. His plan is to conquer all nations. All right, to take down the Chinese, to have them implanted with a microchip, to have the Koreans, the Japanese implanted with a microchip, to have all the citizens of Russia implanted with a microchip, to have all the citizens of Iran implanted with a microchip. But the main focus is going to be here in Babylon the Great. Okay, Babylon the Great is that big patsy. The Babylon the Great was set up to, be used as a tool to, deceive all the nations, to subdue all the nations. So the main focus of prophecy is here in America, spiritual Egypt. Okay, Babylon the Great, and this is where the Most High's wrath is going to be upon. So Esau is going to come really hard against you Americans, because you have so-called constitutional rights. You have the right to bear arms. You have the right to assembly. You have the right to freedom of speech, so on and so forth. You have the right to remain silent. right? You can plead the fifth. You have the right to a fair trial, fair and speedy trial. Okay? But through chaos, okay, and suspending the Constitution through black swan events, psychological operations, they're now able to lock you Americans into the detention centers. Like the guy said, one individual screamed out and said, "I'm an American citizen." Well, if you too dark, Esau does not consider you an American citizen. Okay? It says, for the devil, which is Esau, is because who's creating all these policies? Who set up Alligator Alcatraz? All right, and then setting up for the whole world to see. But see, they're justified because they're saying, no, these are criminals from another country. It's illegal. It's illegal for them to be here anyway. And who did they go and target after? You Israelites. That's nothing but a Trojan horse. All right, really to come down upon Jacob in general, and also to come down upon the prophets. Because best believe you, he wants the Hebrew Israelites to be locked up in the detention centers as well. And we're going to go into the precept in Revelation, which goes into them. We can go to 2 Ezra 16:2, which goes into them coming grabbing us up. Okay, and some of us being thrown in these so-called detention/concentration camps. Okay, in which, and they show you these things in these different movies. You know, these quarantine camps. You know, these individuals that are fighting against the government. They're building these large, major, detention centers to house a lot of people. You have the FEMA coffins. We didn't forget about that, right? And FEMA is in charge of a lot of these different things. You know, federal emergency. I forget exactly what FEMA stands for. I mean, we can Google it. It's not a big deal. But it's it's for disaster. Okay, it's like they're in charge of when shit goes wrong, and they need they have special powers in which they can FEMA can come in and grab your ass up under certain executive orders. Okay, give me a second. Says, for the devil is come down unto you having great wrath, because he knoweth that he has but a short time. So Esau is moving with all type of. Look at the smile on these devils.
To have that conversation with my wife.
Claiming conditions follow prison standards.
That conversation with in then my bedded house, I'm gonna have to have that conversation with my wife.
Caruso say the condition blazing Golia and Representative Michael Caruso say the conditions inside were satisfactory.
The bed is actually more comfortable than my bedded house. I'm gonna have to have that conversation with my wife.
Claiming conditions follow prison standards with adequate food, water, air conditioning, and shower access.
See? Play this. And this is all fair use. Okay, I'm not making any money on this. This is all educational purposes. Okay. But if they take the video down, to hell with these damn devils regardless. They're still going down, all right?
At their first tour of the new ICE detention facility in the Everglades, Democrats who were denied the chance to see this facility previously expressed outrage after being allowed inside today, saying the facility lacked basic human needs.
Your drinking water comes from the toilet. People are on the toilet, you can't drink water.
Since Alligator Alcatraz opened, protesters have lined the streets in opposition of the facility's operation. They were back out there again today.
Protests don't matter. When has a protest ever stopped, the elite's agenda from moving forward? It might slow down, but it never puts an end to the unjust policies of the so-called white man. It never does that. All right, they still move forward with their agenda. Okay?
It's hot, it's full of bugs, it floods. This is ridiculous. We don't lock human beings up for committing no crimes.
CBS News Miami Steve Majori was there and spoke to both Democrats and Republicans about what they witnessed on the tour.
We saw people, of course, yelling for help. We even heard in the background someone yell, "I'm an American citizen."
After a several-hour tour of Alligator Alcatraz, Florida Democrats said that the food portions were smaller for detainees than the staff. And while they didn't get to meet with any detainees while inside, they said the conditions were...
Look, cages. This is a makeshift prison. They can build these things fast. Okay? And you have contractors that make these beds, the pillows. They're getting all type of money, you know, to build these facilities. To lay the concrete, to lay the tarps, to do the fencing, to build the beds, to build the little cots. He said this is more comfortable than the bed that he has at home. Okay, the pillows, everything, all the food. Who makes the food? It's a big scam. Are they getting these Esau's getting all type of money by locking you Israelites up? He's actually making a lot of money doing it. Not your average Edomite. I'm talking about the elite. All right, so they have stock in these detention centers. All right, what is it called? The correctional industrial facility. I forget the big. I forget the name that they use. You know, as concerning the correctional facilities, these detention facilities, these prisons, the prison industrial. I forget it, but let's just continue.
Appalling. The Democratic lawmakers tell us they weren't allowed to take photos inside the facility and couldn't bring their phones in.
I brought a thermostat in with me, a manual thermostat. In the medical intake area, it was 85 degrees.
Water has to be trucked into this facility. No running pipes. It makes no sense that this is here.
Their drinking water comes from the toilet. People are on the toilet, you can't drink water.
Republican lawmakers also got a tour and said they were satisfied with what they saw.
I will tell you, I was in one of the areas where I actually laid down in a bed. The bed was actually probably more comfortable than my bed at home. I'm not kidding.
Alligator Alcatraz is a new ICE detention facility. It was built and opened in 8 days. It's at the Dade Collier training.
Look at that. It was built and opened in 8 days. So it's nothing for a crisis to happen in which they need multiple of these facilities built in a short period of time to house tens of thousands of individuals. Okay, and these things are on the books for them to actually do. And there's nothing that you Americans can do about it. So you can see how things can move quick with the right excuse from Big Brother, from the government. And all you individuals that don't want to do what the government tells you to do, especially as it pertains to bowing down, worshiping the beast, and taking his mark, you're going to be thrown into these facilities, okay? And they're going to, and the conditions are going to be deplorable, and you're going to want to get out, okay? And it's probably going to be a lot of sick people dying, people going crazy, and that's going to be part of the coercion technique to get you to submit and ultimately take the MAR to the K. That's what it's all about. That's what we're moving to. All roads lead to the MOTB. Let's play.
Transition airport in the middle of the Everglades. Lawmakers at the county, state, and federal level have been trying to get a tour of this place after detainees complained about inhumane conditions inside. CBS News Miami has told you how detainees described the conditions inside. This call was posted online by a girlfriend of a detainee, where he and others claimed limited access to water and inadequate food. The state has denied those accusations. Lawmakers tell us they'd like to hold hearings on this facility, and they're planning another unannounced visit at another date.
When I was in that facility looking at those cages, I saw young men who looked exactly like me. That's right. I saw myself in those cages.
Yeah, because that's the reality of the matter. If you look like a Jake, okay, you're going to get thrown in them detention centers. Esau has that hatred towards you Israelites. That's what we've been trying to tell you. He's doing it right before your eyes. He's not hiding, but the majority of Jake, they're completely oblivious to the things that are being prepared for them. Oh, well, let me just get that precept. What is that? Ezekiel. 21, if I'm not mistaken. Right. And we keep telling you, Jakes, we keep telling you Israelites that Esau is going to come in like a flood. All right, and those that don't have that protection, you're going to get caught up. All right, they're going to strip you. They're going to take you, all right, take your wife, all right, to a different facility. They're going to take your children to a different facility. There's going to be no communication, all right, but then they're going to basically say, hey, look, if you want to link up with your family, you better do this, you better do that. Or a lot of them, they just going to take out. A lot of you Jakes, they just going to take out. Okay, well, let me get Jeremiah the 15th chapter. Let's go there first. Because it says some are for the captivity. If you're getting thrown in a detention center, okay, let's play. Hold on. I want to get a shot inside the detention center. If you're getting thrown in a detention center, this is captivity. Your ass ain't going nowhere. 2 beds. You got bunk beds. You niggas are sleeping on bunk beds. Okay? Prison style, all right? Because you're in prison. You're in captivity. All right? And you eat when they tell you to eat. All right? You shit when they tell you to shit. You go to sleep when they tell you to go to sleep. And I wouldn't be surprised if they'll have you, do work. But at 2 Ezra 16 says, feed you idle. Because there's going to come a time where there's going to be no work. There's going to be no reason to work. It's all about Esau putting that MAR to the K inside you. Will feed you idle with things offered unto idols. That thing offered unto idol, that's the MOTB. You're going to be idle because there's going to be no work. You're just going to be in a fucking cage. Okay, and that's the reality. Let's read this. And I'm going to just kind of go to the point. Verse 3, and I will appoint over them 4 kinds, said the Lord. The sword to slay. Some of you just going to get taken out by the gun. All right, by killing instruments. By the bayonet. Okay. By these military forces coming in by, drones. Okay, they going to be using them drones to come and get your ass. And the dogs to tear, all right, they're going to be sicking animals on you. And yeah, I want to do a video too, because you got Esau, he trying to bring back, so-called prehistoric, animals. Okay, like the woolly mammoth and shit, like the saber-toothed tiger. So he's doing this damn devil's doing a lot, man. And the fowls of heaven and the beasts of the earth to devour and destroy. There's a certain of you individuals, all right, starting with you Israelites, mainly you Israelites, but you other nations that are here in America, you're gonna be in trouble too. Okay, Jake gonna go wild, all right, and there's gonna be places within America that's gonna be totally chaos, and sedition. And, certain counties and governments and states, breaking away from federal control and saying we want to be our own state, right? But then there's going to be other states, other territories here in America that's going to be relatively quiet. It ain't going to be really, that much chaos. Okay, so let me continue. Oh, you know what? I actually skipped. I shouldn't have did that. That's the point. I'll read 1 and 2. Jeremiah 15 and 1. Then said the Lord unto me, though Moses and Samuel stood before me, yet my mind could not be towards this people. Speaking about you Jakes, you so-called blacks and Native Americans. In the book of Isaiah, the 1st chapter speaks about Israel does not know, Israel does not consider. The ox know of his owner and the ass his master's crib, but Israel does not know. My people does not consider. Here it is, the Lord, he has his messengers out telling you, being watchmen unto the house of Israel, letting you know what's getting ready to go down and how you can be able to escape these said perils. But Jake is brushing it off as whether they just outright don't believe it, just scoffing at it, or they believe the prophecy is for another time. It's afar off. They might, oh yeah, no, yeah, what you saying is true, brother, but I don't think it's in this time. They don't see it. Okay? So the Lord, I don't, these niggas, man. To hell with these niggas. Cast them out of my sight and let them go forth. Yeah, the Lord, he ultimately casted us out of that land. This is why, as a whole, we are not in that land. And we are not recognized amongst the nations as being the people of that land. Okay, we are just known as blacks or Mexicans or Puerto Ricans. Verse 2, and it shall come to pass, if they say unto thee, whither shall we go forth? Yeah, what shall we do? Because you're going to have a lot of Jakes that when the shit start hitting the fan, they're going to be running. It tells you that, I believe it was at Amos, is it the 9th chapter or the 8th chapter, about the famine of the word, maybe the 8th chapter, 8 and 11 or something like that. And it talks about how they're going to run 2 and 4. It could be in the 9th chapter too. I kind of get that mixed up. But it talks about the famine of the word. Okay? You're going to have Jake running to and fro trying to find, really some type of relief, some type of protection in that day. Then thou shalt tell them, thus said the Lord, such as are for death to death. Yeah, there's certain of you Israelites that is going to get put to death. You're going to experience death by pain in second Ezra the 9th chapter. And such as are for the sword, to the sword, again, going into death, but the way that you're going to be killed through these killing instruments, namely the gun, whether it be a 50 cal, whether it be a M16, whether it be some type of police standard, pistol, a military standard rifle, or the bayonet, or say like a 50 cal, or a goddamn machine gun on a drone, or a robot with guns and shit, or a laser. You're gonna experience that. And such as are for the famine, to the famine. Some of your cities, you black cities, you're gonna be, what's it called? Besieged. There's gonna be like a siege where they're not gonna allow certain goods to come into your area. Okay, you're gonna be like forgotten about. There'll be certain blockades. All right, and you're gonna be starving. A lot of you gonna die of the famine. A lot of you Israelites. Okay, here in America, in different parts of the earth, but mainly we're speaking about America. Okay, so some are just to die, whether you're going to die of a heart attack, die of heart disease, die because you don't have any oxygen, or you don't have your medications, or you can't get to medical, you can't get medical support, right? For whatever reason, the society is breaking down, okay? It says you get hit by a car, some for the sword, you're going to get caught up in these race wars, you're going to get caught up in these, where they're rioting against the police force and stuff like that, you're going to get caught up there, right? Some of you are going to die in famine, right? And then it says, and such as are for the captivity to the captivity. Some of you are going to be thrown in detention centers, okay? And you're going to have some of the elect that's going to be thrown in the detention center. But we've been given a heads up that this is nothing but a test. All right, and then, yeah, some of us will be martyrs. All right, see, give me a second. It's the spirit. So right when I said that, this shit dropped. I could be a martyr. Lord's will, if, of course nobody want to die, but you got to be prepared, mentally prepared, spiritually prepared, really. Which prepares your mind to be able to, go through these things when that time comes. Just bear with me because some stuff fell. Just bear with me. Okay. Some of us will be put to death for a witness. Okay, to a witness to Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay. But you see, our people, they're going to get caught up in the mess, because they don't have faith. They're not going to have hope. This is the only reality is going to be the reality that Esau got him in a fucking detention center. Okay, and he's demanding that you should do this, you should do that, and you think this devil's not going to do it. Well, he going to do it. The reason why is he going to do it? Because that's what the scriptures say he going to do. And we know that a lot of you jakes, you're unbelievers, but the Lord is going to make you a believer. Okay, the Lord's going to make you a believer. So some of you are for the captivity. But let me go. And who creates the policies, and who gets the funding to do all this? Where is all this shit coming from? Okay, where's all this shit coming? You would think with all the money they spend on correctional facilities, detention centers, you would think that the American streets would be paved with gold. Okay, how much money they spend. But these what the scriptures say, miserable are thy cities. Okay, let's go to Ezekiel. All right, because this is all for the judgment, the righteous indignation against you Israelites. This is why it's called Jacob's trouble. But as well, the Lord, he going to take out Esau too. Because Esau, this is like his last lockstep, his last hoorah, his last, we just read in Revelation 12, how he know he has but a short time. He sees the writing on the wall. He's being visited by, spirits. He's being the angels are showing themselves. The prophets are prophesying, but we know he's the deaf adder that's stopping for ears. All right, he's Pharaoh that the Most High is hardening his heart, because all these things must come to pass. He has to fulfill these things. It's in his programming for him to fulfill all these things. Okay, this is how we know he's gonna lose ultimately. And when he comes at the elect, we're gonna have a protector that's gonna shield us. The angels are gonna shield us. The scriptures speak about that. How the Lord will give charge. His angels give charge over us to protect us. Okay, and make sure that we're good, even though we're gonna suffer certain things. Okay. Ezekiel 21 and 9. Son of man, prophesy. See, what is prophesy? To say things before it happens. Now this happened back then, but it's also applying to the situation that we're in now. Okay, because that's also Esau is going to go into the sword, right? Esau is the sword. What is it? Psalms 17. Was it Psalm 17:13? Or deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. Right? So Esau is a sword. He was given the blessing of the sword. So it happened back then, but it's going to happen now. Romans 15:4, the things written aforetime were written for our learning. Okay, so that which was then is now. And there is no new thing under the sun. So history repeats itself because it's the same individuals, the same spirits coming back in different bodies. Okay, fulfilling their same lot. That's why the prophets, they're back doing what? Fulfilling their same lot. The spirit of the prophets are subject to the prophets. Okay, so when this thing happens, you're going to know that there has been a prophet among you. All right, son of man, prophesy and say, thus said the Lord Yahweh, say a sword is sharpened and also furbished, which means, like kind of let's go to this word furbished again. It means a couple of different things, to actually garnish that sword, right? That word there is marat, to bear, polish, make smooth or bald, to bear, right? To bear that sword. It's been given into the hand. It's gonna go. I'm kind of jumping the gun, right? Right. But it also down here in the strong definition is sharpened. Right? So it's being perfected. To sharpen a sword, there's only reason to sharpen a sword. So it's more efficient in doing what it was created to do, and that was what? To cut. Okay? So this is why Esau works non-stop, okay, coming up with ways to destroy you Israelites. All right, to take you out in great number. Okay, and these detention centers is part of that. It is sharpened to make a sore slaughter. This is why Esau has been given the technology of, you know, killing instruments. It's to make a sore slaughter. And there's going to be some of you going to get thrown in the detention center, but some of you going to be caught up in that slaughter. Okay, when they going to be sending special troop, what do they call them? The special forces. They going to drone warfare in your cities. Okay. It is furbished that it may glitter. Shall we then make mirth? Maybe I skipped it. Let me see. Yeah. Should we then make mirth? It contemneth the rod of my son as every tree. And he has given it to be furbished that it may be handled. The sword is sharpened and is furbished to give it to the hand of the slayer. And Esau is the hand of the slayer. Or Esau is the slayer. And it's been given into his hand, meaning he's been given the power to do so. Let's go back here and finish up this video.
She told us she hasn't been
hearings and there will be accountability.
Miami-Dade County Mayor Daniela Levine Cava was not at this tour. She told us she hasn't been offered a chance to see the facility yet. The mayor told us that the state seized control of the property from Miami-Dade County, raising further questions about local authority and oversight. The property from Miami offered a chance to see the facility yet. The mayor told us that the state seized control of the property from Miami-Dade County, raising further questions about local authority and oversight. The mayor is hoping she can get regular access to Alligator Alcatraz in the Everglades.
You're going to start to see these detention centers pop up all over these different states. In California, and Texas, and Florida, and Miami, and New York.
Steve Majiri, CBS News, Miami.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem held a press conference in Tampa today. She says she's in talks with other states about having their own versions of alligator alcohol.
Well, see, I just said that. Let's play it. I just said that because that's the plan. It's not hard to see. This has been the plan of Esau since the beginning. All these states want to have their own so-called alligator Alcatraz, their detention centers. In here, look, talks to build 5 more alligator Alcatraz. The house who? You Israelites. The house you Jakes. Okay, hey, Jacob. They're setting up. They have to get the infrastructure built, and they can do it in 8 days. The contracts are there. There's companies that actually this is what they do. They build fucking detention centers. Okay, and they get government contracts. And then they got they hire skilled labor to come in and build that shit in less than 2 weeks. And then throw your ass up in there, okay? Let's play that again.
Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem.
Homeland Security Secretary.
Held a press conference in Tampa today. She says she's in talks with other states about having their own versions of alligator Alcatraz.
I'm having ongoing conversations with 5 other governors about facilities that they may have. You know, I haven't asked those governors if I can share their names, but announcements will be coming soon.
She continued the press conference pushing the need to double the capacity for detention beds, and it comes as the Trump administration facilitates getting undocumented immigrants out of the country. Stick with CBS News.
So why would you put them in a fucking detention center? That doesn't make sense. You put them in a detention center, and it looked like they got the Latin tribes working to build the fucking facility. So they helping build the facility that Esau's gonna come and throw your ass in. You can't make this shit up. You look at it, look the Latin tribes. That don't look like Esau. Okay. So let me just end it in Revelation 2. Okay, you could read Revelation 3 too. But Esau, he's setting the detention centers, man. These camps for you Jakes, man, to throw your ass up in there. And he's doing it right in front of your eyes. And there's nothing that you can do about it because this is all prophecy. So let's go to here. Because we're here also to warn the elect that these things are going to happen. You can't run from it. You're going to try to run from Jacob's trouble? No, you have to, the Lord said, fear not thou worm Jacob, for I will help thee. The Lord is going to help us through Jacob's trouble. It tells you that in Jeremiah 30. It's even a time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay? And that word alas goes into the word woe. So let's bring this out. All right, because we've been saying it from our apostles and elders on down. This is the ultimate goal of Esau Edom. All right, to lock any of you individuals in detention centers, prisons, concentration camps, whatever you want to call it, FEMA camps, whatever the hell you want to call it, because he knows that there's going to be a lot of people bucking up against his agenda, and he got something for your ass. Okay, AI gonna point your ass out, and then AI gonna send some officers, all right, to come and grab your ass up. You see how ICE is? ICE, they're like ICE is part of the police. They're like a different faction. They call them ICE police, and they have particular powers. And when they come, they'll come 20 deep just to get one person. Revelation 2:10. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. See? We're going to suffer. This truth is about suffering. Apostle Gabar goes into, all the apostles, all the elder bishops, going down to the elders, even the brothers that been in this thing for, a period of time. You know that you are brought in this thing, you're going to suffer. Okay? So we are here to warn you that you are going to suffer. Things are going to get tough. Your faith is going to be tried. But the scriptures say what? Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison. So some of us will get thrown into prison. Let's look at this word prison. Okay? Some of us will be thrown into these camps, these facilities. Okay? Not all of us, but some. Look at that. Here, let me see this Greek word, pholake.
Strong's G 5438. Fulake.
Fulake, right? Now, when you go to the King James translation count, total 47 times, fulake, in the New Testament. And 2 times it says imprisonment. And 1 time the word cage is used, right? The word cage. The word cage. Look, this is a cage. So some of you will be thrown into cages. You can also use that word. This is exactly what's going on. Okay? And it's going to come a point to where they're going to actually come for the prophets and the believers. Okay, well, a burning wrath is kindled over you. Over those that fear the Lord and keep his commandments. So this is all setting the stage to put us in there. All right, to put anybody in there that don't want to, bow to the knee. Okay? So that word there is cage. All right, guard, watching, it's a cage of hold. Imprisonment, that's what it is. You in a cage. So some of us will be thrown into cages, right? You can interchange that word prison to cage, because that's nothing but a prison is a cage. Okay. It says, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, or some of you into cages, that ye may be tried, right? Tested. Okay. The Lord is testing our faith. Because this is how the Lord is, pretty much sifting. It's a sifting process. And through great tribulation, this is how we're going to enter into the kingdom. See, the people, you don't understand the Most High in the way he gets down. He'll put his servant in prison. He'll have people unjustly throw him in prison. Okay, have his servants go through unjust things, but ultimately save him at the end. So really, the trick is on you, Esau, because everything that you have done, you like to throw Jake in cages. Well, guess what? You're gonna be in pits, which is gonna be a form of a cage. Okay. And we gonna treat you worse than you treated us. We're gonna give unto you double. Okay, so that's another form, or another I guess, form of hope, or another, this kind of lack of a lack of words. You know, basically that gives us more of a charge to be able to go through what you're getting ready to put us through, because we know ultimately the Most High. Let me get that. What was that? Thessalonians. What was that? 2 Thessalonians, or the 1 Thessalonians? I think it's 1. Damn it. Right? Yep. 2 Thessalonians 1:6. Seeing it is a righteous thing with the Most High to recompense, meaning pay back, tribulation. So to pay you back in tribulation to them that trouble you. So you're going to come down, you're going to trouble us. And the Lord is going to pay you back. He's going to pay you back in the way of judgment. So that's going to help us get through whatever we're going to go through. That little small, you know, is really going to be small, but hey, we're in the flesh, so it's going to be tough. But the faith at the end is going to overcome. All right, it says, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. That 10 days just goes into a period of time. It can be a month. It can be 10 days. Okay, it can be 2 days. Okay, it says, be thou faithful unto death, because some of us, will, the so-called, judgment, the wicked, unrighteous judgment of this world, the death is going to be the judgment. What they're going to prescribe those that follow after Yahweh Shai. They're going to say, you're a terrorist, you did this, you did that, right? So you have to be faithful unto death. If they threaten you with death, hey, fuck it. What else can they do? Well, the scriptures say, fear not him that shall be able to, let's bring that out. Right? Where it says destroy body. It's in Matthew. Yeah, Matthew 10 and 28. And fear not, let me go blue letter. Red letter. And fear not them which kill the body. Right? So we shouldn't be afraid of Esau. It's the flesh that has the fear of death. Okay, it's really just the sting. Who the fuck is Esau? Esau, he's been given power. Okay, he's not a god. He's just a man. Okay, and the Lord's getting ready to take out the bases of men. All right, so yeah, you're gonna come in with your little puny weapons that may be able to that do destroy the body. That can. These bodies are weak. Yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, Esau, you got it. But does that mean that you're not going to be paid back? And fear not them which kill the body. This is why the scriptures say, I have 7,000 men that shall not bow down to the image of Baal. Also, the scripture says, is they love not their lives unto the death. All right, so you have certain men that are being built up to be able to withstand this time and have a different mindset than all other people down here on the earth. Everybody else is going to be in fear for their life. Where the true men of the Lord, they don't give a shit about their life. Their only thought is to endure into the end without being coerced into taking MOTB. All right, because it's literally going to be your will to do it. Like, it's going to be your choice, even though they might put you to death and say, if you don't do it, put you to, but it's your choice. You could do it and fear for your life, and then ultimately be destroyed by the Lord, or you can just have them take you out, and the Lord raise you up with Yahweh Shai, but are not able to kill the soul, right? So they don't have control over the spirit, which they're tirelessly trying, tinkering with the body, playing with DNA, trying to capture the spirit. They're trying to do that, but they don't have power to do that. They don't even have power over their own life. If one of these elites die, they die. There's nothing they can do. The best they can do is freeze the body in hopes that technology somewhere in the future is able to bring them back to life. But we know that that's not going to be true. The Heavenly Father, He controls life and death, and He can raise you up. So here it is, say they put you to death, but the Lord, He can put your body back together. See? So that's the level of faith that you must have, just like Abraham with Isaac. When the Lord told Abraham to sacrifice his son, he thought in himself, well, the Lord said sacrifice, I'm going to sacrifice him, but I know that, because the Lord said that, out of Isaac, that's where the promise is going to come, and he's going to raise up a nation. But hey, the Lord, he can raise up, he could kill him and he can raise him back up. But rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. Meaning the Lord, he's able to basically have control over your spirit. When you die, you can come back, crippled. You can get into a bad accident. He can, the Lord can judge you, make you a midget. You can live 20 years and then you get in a car accident and now you're a paraplegic. Okay, the Lord can have it where you got certain individuals, even children, being kidnapped and done, being put through rituals of sacrifice and being trafficked. Those are all judgments. That's why you should fear Yahweh Shema Shai and not man, because the Lord, he can control if you are put through any of these things or not. Okay, so let's go back. I'm going to read it again and we just going to wrap it up. Fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Red letter. Behold, the devil, who's the devil? Esau, shall cast some of you into prison, that ye may be tried. And ye shall have tribulation 10 days, a period of time. Be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. Okay, because ultimately that crown is coming. When Esau, he's at that stage where he's putting people to death because they don't want to take the MOTB, he's out of there. Why? That would be the worst time to, bitch up, for lack of better words. Okay, bitch up and give in and bow down. Allow him to inject you. Okay, because that means he's out of there. And see, this is he doesn't. This is why Esau don't want you Israelites to understand this word, because Esau understands on certain levels that he's going to be destroyed. All right, and his job is to try to get take as many people out with him, take the whole world out with him. But that's not going to be the case. The Lord's going to deliver his elect. So, hey, I pray that the lesson was edifying. Until next time, shalom to the elect.